6 o'clock, I'm calling the meeting to order. I ask for the Pledge of Allegiance, and Mary Ann, could you do this song?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. A couple of items to run through. We've got several minutes that were presented. The first one is the June 14th work session meeting minutes.
I move that we accept the June 14th work session minutes as written.
Okay, Zach moves. Mary Ann seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Second set of minutes. The June 14th, 2021 non-public working session meeting minutes.
I move to approve.
Ted moves. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mary Ann seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Next, we have the June 14th, 2021 regular meeting minutes. Is there a motion? All right.
I move that we accept the June 14th regular meeting minutes.
All right.
Second.
Zach moves. Ted seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Lastly, we have the June 14th, 2021 non-public meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
A motion to accept.
Second.
Ted moves, Zach seconds. Any discussion?
I want to thank Colleen for capturing my motion perfectly.
I'm sure she'll be appreciative of that. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. The Select Board will meet on the following dates. We'll have a regular meeting at 6 p.m. Well, actually not. To be discussed in a little bit, but we'll next meet on Monday, July 12th, 2021, and the next one will be July 26th, 2021. Well, let me just intercede on this one. So during our work session earlier, we decided that we're not going to have work sessions anymore. We're going to combine our work session with our regular meetings. We're going to start them at 5 p.m. and just make it a little bit easier for everyone to be able to see the workings of the board, and there seemed to be no point in actually separating the two. So that shall start at our next Monday meeting, so July 12th and July 26th. There will be board meetings that are going to start at 5 p.m. And all the meetings will be in the Plymouth Town Hall. Citizens wishing to be listed on the Select Board's agenda should notify the Town Hall before 12 noon, the Friday before the scheduled meeting. Town offices will be closed on Monday, July 5th for Independence Day. And the next order of business, we have an appointment. Michael Bouchard, appointment as a fully seated member of the Conservation Commission. Excuse me. And I've got two letters, at least I'm going to read without consideration for the time, but from the Conservation Commission, specifically Lisa Donor, the chair. Please add this Conservation Commission appointment to the next Select Board agenda. Mark Tuckerman has moved out of the town to the town of Ossipee, so he can no longer serve the commission as a full member. This leaves one opening on the commission for a full member, None of the current alternatives wishes to become a full member at this time. So we have received a request from Sir Michael Bouchard to serve as a full member of the Conservation Commission. He also serves on the Planning Board. The Conservation Commission has met with him, discussed the dual role with regard to communication and facilitation between the two appointments, and appropriate actions where conflicts of interest may arise. The Conservation Commission voted unanimously on 6/15/2021 to recommend his appointment as a full member to the commission, completing the 3-year term held by Mark Tuckerman. I also want to read Sir Michael's request. Dear Conservation Commission and Office of the Select Board, this letter is to request appointment to serve on the Plymouth Conservation Commission as a full member. As a resident of Plymouth, I care deeply about the quality of the land and water around us. By serving on the Conservation Commission, I can help the town meet its conservation goals. My background in the science and water reclamation technology industries prepares me to serve in this capacity. I ask you to review this request letter and vote on my appointment. Sincerely, Sir Michael Bouchard. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to vote on Sir Michael Bouchard's appointment to the Conservation Commission.
Second.
Vote to approve, I take it.
Yeah, approved, yes.
All right. Ted moves, Neil seconds. Any further any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Michael is on the Conservation Commission. And there is an appointment.
Did you say Scott Whedon's not going to be here tonight?
Yes. Therefore, does the town manager wish to provide an update?
Only that we met with, what's the gentleman's name from, is it Dan Rocher? Dan Rochers? Dan DeRocher. DeRocher from Woodsville. From Woodsville Guarantee, and talked to him about modifying our loan for our $2 million bond. And he agreed to bring the interest rate from 2.37 down to 1.75. So we're saving on that one as well.
Great.
So that's good news.
Yep. Anything else? Thanks, Kathy. Okay, new purchase orders and grants. The remainder of the bond, okay, so the remainder of the bond is approved at the 2020 town meeting. Town Hall, capital outlay. Land and improvements, up to $931,462.
And if you would include the equipment and vehicles up to $796,666 for a total of $1,728,128. We are asking to carry those over because a lot of the items, this was approved at the March meeting, and a lot of the items have been ordered but are not in yet, so we're still waiting on them, so we have to carry it over because we haven't received any invoices for payment.
Okay. Is there any discussion regarding it, or is there a motion?
Make a motion to allow the carryover of the $1.7 million pending the delivery and invoicing.
Okay, Ted moves. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mary Ann seconds. Any discussion?
We expect this to get sort of wrapped up in the next cycle? Is
It's
that
next fiscal year,
Yeah, the next
yes.
fiscal year?
Yes. And we did also receive the $250,000 grant towards some of the equipment on this list, so.
And $1 million of this is actually for the Main Street project.
Right,
So that's actually the vast majority of what's
It
the
is.
here.
vast majority, yes.
It struck me as a, $2.5 million bond, and we've only spent 800,000 of it. It's a little surprising, but that makes a lot more sense.
Any further discussion? In that case, if you approve, say aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Let's track of where we're right now. Kathy, you want to introduce the next item for Parks and Rec?
I do. We had an employee that retired and had asked for us to cover his insurance for a certain period of time, which the board agreed to. So the $16,273.06 is to cover the insurance buyout.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the purchase order.
Okay, Zach moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Neil seconds. Any discussion? Do you recall this? And I think we're all set. But excuse me. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Sorry. All right, next item. ETC attorneys. Brought by Code Enforcement Officer. Excuse me, attorney's fees. Now, these cases, are we going to reimburse for it? I thought we,
We're hoping for reimbursement once we do go to court. We'll ask for legal fees and anything else, so we're kind of keeping that separate. That's
Alright.
why it's not under the regular attorney expense. It's under a different line.
okay. Okey-doke.
Is
there a
this for multiple cases or just the one?
Right now, it's only for that one case. There might be additional cases, but
Yep.
we have some additional money in the budget this year for that.
Okay, is there a motion?
Motion to accept the Plymouth order, purchase order for attorney fees associated with cases brought forward by the Code Enforcement Officer.
Okay, Mary Ann moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Neil seconds. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 We technically only need 3, so you
Yeah.
can ask for your nays.
Any, all those opposed say nay? All right, that's still a majority. Ayes have it. Okey-doke. Town Hall, Lakes Region Planning Commission, for the balance of the road surface management purchase order.
That was approved at the April 12th, 2021 Select Board meeting. It was in the amount of $20,000, and we have already paid half of that as a down payment, and we have $10,000 left on it to pay.
Okay, any questions, or is a motion, or take either?
Make a motion to approve the payment of the purchase order.
Ted moves. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Oh, she got it.
Neil,
Yeah,
you
she's-
could have
Yeah,
it.
she's kind of,
He's a gentleman.
Oh, now I feel bad. I was going to give it to
It's
Neil.
hers.
Okay.
She owns it.
What is this for?
The road surface management, Lakes Region Planning Commission, I don't know, Joe. Yeah,
Joe benefits from this.
Is this the inventory that they do of the
yes.
Oh,
Infrastructure and the road
Conditions, yeah.
conditions.
Oh, yeah.
road
yeah,
conditions,
yeah.
right?
Okay, there's also like culverts.
The
that-
culvert one, which is different, but
Yeah.
this is
This is conditions of the roads.
the roads.
Yes,
He's nodding.
which is
Do
good
they
for us.
produce like a report on that?
Yes,
Can we get a copy of that when
Yes,
it comes through? I'd
definitely.
love to see it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
So it was Ted and Mary Ann or Ted and Neil?
Ted and Mary Ann.
Okay.
See, I'd forgotten.
I would have said Neil.
Good thing you're taking notes.
Mary Ann,
I'm listening
yes.
So
to
long
it,
ago.
wondering about who wants it.
Okay, any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Let's have it. Okay. Purchase orders. We have Joe, DA White Excavating, Bartlett Road Reconstruction. Joe, you want to discuss this? It's $249.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll discuss it. So, we're doing a Bartlett Road reconstruction up to 2,000 feet. However, whichever comes first, the money or the road, so I put it out to bid. There was 5 bids: Andrews Construction, Dana White, Aaron Piper, BH Construction, and Jeremy Hills Excavation. And Dana White came in the lowest, and so there's a lot of he's done a lot of work for us, and I'm confident that he can do the job at that price, which is $249,000. It'll probably be done late in the fall. He's got a lot of work ahead, but we're hoping to get it done before winter sets in.
I have a question.
Yep.
Was there core testing done to determine the substrate on this road?
Not on this one because the excavation is to we're gonna dig it out. So part of the plan is to box out the road. So when we say box it out, we're gonna be digging down like the width of the road by 20 to 22 inches deep to get rid of all the old material. We're looking to dig it down to a decent material. So that's why it costs so much money, because we're getting rid of all the old material, because we've spent too much money over the years just trying to resurface it. So that's what we're, instead of core testing, we're taking out the whole base of the road.
So, I got a question too, Joe. Have we considered just taking it back to dirt, like Bell Road is? Would that be a lot cheaper?
Well, I would say no, only because if you just, there's so many rocks in there. Even now, right now, I'm not even having it reclaimed because there's so many rocks in there that it would raise heck with a reclaimer. So they're going to pull the asphalt off, and we're going to end up with it, and then we're going to dig the base out because the material is so poor. So to answer your question, no, it wouldn't work well.
Work though, could you, and I think the work that you're talking about makes a lot of sense, to dig down, get back to the base, get a good, foundational structure there to build a road on top of again. could you avoid the second half of this, which is the paving component of that, and leave that road dirt, or apply whatever a finished dirt surface is on top of that, rather than bringing it back to a paved road?
What would be the advantage?
Well, if I understand the purchase order correctly, the first portion, the 145,000, is for the work that I don't think there's any debate on whether there's value to doing. And the second component is the paving that you would put on top of that,
Right.
the asphalt.
So if it's a paved road now, and I delete the paved road, then we're going in a backwards motion. So for me, if you're going to spend the money and do this, and you don't pave it, part of the problem is we're going to put fabric on the road underneath, and so once you pave it, then the whole road's sealed. So if you put fabric down and then you don't pave it, then there's a lot of ways you could look at that. You know, that fabric is to keep the road from heaving and keep the water from coming up. But if you don't pave it, then the water is going to get in there. And my opinion is this was spec'd out to pave. If you wanted anything different, I guess we should have talked about it before this, because the way it's spec'd out, they go together. What I could suggest, which, you know, so what's going to happen now is if I have to, I'm going to just put a base coat on this year and then pave it in the spring. But if he had wanted just a dirt road, I would have just done something totally different. I would have wasted. This is a lot of money to put out, not to pave. They kind of go hand in hand to do it properly.
Traffic count on this road, or an estimate? You'll have more than 50 cars a day, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, every time I go down.
Pavement, it would cost more to maintain a dirt road than it would an asphalt road with that much traffic.
Well, the problem is with the dirt road is you rely on the rain. So if you don't get a lot of rain, then you can't keep your roads maintained and they stay rough and washboardy, and then you're trying to play catch up every time you get rain to grade the worst ones. So that's why we try to move forward and not have as many dirt roads, because it's a process to try to scramble to get to them within a short window of the rain. And this year's no exception. There hasn't been a lot of rain, and fortunately we've been able to keep up with it. But if we keep going backwards with dirt, you know, putting roads back to dirt, it's not saying much for the money it was the tax people are spending to turn roads back into dirt.
It would be more difficult to maintain, wouldn't it, if it was dirt?
I didn't hear you, Neil.
It'd be more difficult to maintain overall. Your maintenance budget would go up.
Well, for the money you're spending, you do it and you're done, and that road is adequate for a long time. You just walk away and it's done for a long time. I mean, if you spend all that money and then you don't pave it, then I wouldn't do it that way. I wouldn't spend the money to put fabric down and do all that work and then not pave it. But it's not
Road though, anyway, right? We're talking about 2,000 feet of,
Yep.
what's the approximate length of that total road?
So we're gonna start at Reservoir Road in Bartlett, so on the reservoir end, and so we're hoping that it gets close to the bottom of the hill by the mill. That's our goal. And
A third of that road or half of the road?
So I'd say if you were gonna, this is like a 3-part road, so this is only one piece out of 3. So you got two more shots at it like this, but the townspeople voted on it. It wasn't my preference of roads to work on because it wasn't, there's no people that live out there, but I didn't vote it in.
Just for clarification, the townspeople voted on Bartlett Road improvements, not necessarily whether or not we would spend that money on a specific length or paving or how we would approach those. It was a line item for Bartlett Road improvements.
Right, they approved a certain amount of money, and I'm gonna, because they voted in, I'm gonna make sure it gets spent and done properly the way that I spec'd it out, unless you tell me different.
Joe, how long would this this redone section of road last in your estimation?
I would put 20 years on it. I mean, it'll have some cracks and a couple bumps, but it won't be any worse than any of the other roads you travel. But it'll usually after about 10 years you'll start to see some wear and cracks, and by 20 years you'll start to see. And the beauty of this is because of the fabric, and you take all the rocks out, you're not going to have all that. Will take a lot longer to happen for the rocks and the stuff to heave again. That's the whole point of why you box it out. That material was so bad. I've been here a long time, and we've spent a lot of money over the years in just doing it improperly, trying to make it work, and it hasn't worked. So the only way that I wanted to do it was if we could do it right.
So, Joe, I appreciate you abiding by the will of the town and, to address this, and also putting this above, I guess, New Hebron that you were thinking of doing. But,
Right.
I got a question actually on one of the bids. So you did mention when you were answering Neil that there's nothing to reclaim, or because of the fact there's so many rocks in there that you can't reclaim it? Or?
Right. Most of the time, most of the time you can take a road and reclaim it, which all that means is you take the asphalt and the underlying material and you mix it up, and it gives you material to work with to grade and resurface. But this road is so failed that I wouldn't. What happens when you try to reclaim a road like that is you bust up the reclaimer, and you just make unhappy people that you hire to do that, and then they tend, so. And if anybody came out and looked at that, I can guarantee you that they would say, no, I don't want to reclaim that. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I imagine that's what you call glacial till, and there's a lot of fine sediments in there, silt and clay probably, and that would be undesirable in a reclaim process.
I couldn't hear you, Neil, if you were
Oh.
talking to me.
The soils up there are glacial till, and they contain a gnarly mixture of fine sediments, silt and clay, which are undesirable in a reclaimed product. Could you hear that?
Yes, so that whole mountainside, the water all comes down there, and it gets trapped in there, and so that's one of the reasons why we want to put fabric to keep the water from filtrating back in there, and that 2,000 feet, there was only 2 culverts in there, which is not adequate. So there's gonna be a total of 5 culverts in there when we're done, which will give a chance for the water to be more displaced and move in a manner that it will stay stable, because the water used to run the whole length of the road, and then it would just keep eating out the road because it couldn't slow down. By the time you get to the bottom of the hill, it was like a running river. So a lot of work went into this to try to put this together so it would work, short of getting it engineered. So out of all the people who bid it, they all kind of understood what I was looking for. So I did try to save the cost of having it engineered.
Okay. All right, so I guess I'm looking for a motion.
I move that we approve this purchase order for $249,000 to D.A. White Excavating to reconstruct 2,000 feet of the Bartlett Road.
All right, thanks, Neil. Is there a second?
Second.
Ted seconds. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay.
Nay.
The ayes have it, and thank you very much, Joe.
All right, thank you.
And now we have Jessie Jennings regarding a Bobcat of New Hampshire, Bobcat parts, replacement and labor. Hey, Jessie.
Hi.
You want to describe what the PO's for?
Absolutely. Good evening. The purchase order for $6,657.50 is to have repairs done to our Bobcat. The Bobcat at the facility has been down for 6 months, and that's due to not knowing if we would have the monies to pay for the cost for the repairs. So there's 3 parts to this. There's a air filter service. Along with that, it's an oil service. Due to that, it's sat there for 6 months. Then the drive belt and tensioner replacement, and then the repair to the hydrostatic pump bushing, and that's the biggest cost there. They actually have to go really deep inside the skid steer, remove the engine, take the pumps out, fix the pumps, then put everything back in.
I have a question. How many Bobcats do you have? Is this a skid loader?
This is a skid steer. So I have currently I have 3. 2 are operational right now.
Is this the newest one or the oldest one, or?
It's the middle one. It's the middle age.
So just if you haven't missed it for 6 months, what's the impact of not having it?
We're not able to get to do all our work in a timely manner.
So what's not being done?
So actually moving materials, that's what's not being done effectively. I would have to have one person to move a certain type of material, and then the other person that's working downstairs needs the other machine to move another type of material.
So you need some redundancy?
Right, that's the reason why there's been 3 skid steers there at the facility for so many years.
And how many people do you have working at the same time? Do you usually have at least 3 people on?
There's sometimes that we have 4 on at one time, but usually 3.
And so all of them are operating at one of these machines at the same time?
At times, yes.
Any other questions?
How old is this particular one?
This one, I believe it is the 2014 one. This was actually bought right before I came back to town.
So it's pretty new.
Does it have high hours on it?
No, it actually does not.
You said you needed to check your budget at the end of the year. How are you doing? You've had a lot of equipment issues kind of crop up on you this year. How did you end up?
I'm making budget. I'm able to return the 3% that Kathy asked me to give back to the town. So doing pretty good. Most part, I mean, our biggest equipment issue this year was the compactor. which
Yeah,
is
the
covered by-
compactor. Yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah, it was.
He's actually bringing in more revenue than originally predicted too, so,
So he's under budget and over revenue.
yeah, he's doing well.
I didn't,
Recycling materials are going up?
Yeah.
over
Yes.
$20,000 more, Jesse, this year than what we
30.
predicted?
I think he said 30.
It's more of 40.
Oh,
40.
40.
Okay. So he's doing,
Do I hear 50?
Good work,
I know.
Jesse.
sold.
Excellent.
Thank you.
In that case, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the repair operation on the skip.
Second.
All right, Ted moves, Derek, did you second?
Second.
Okay,
I don't
you're
know.
I'm a second.
I got him.
We all
That's all
seconded.
that counts is Ann's
It's a
got
group
'em.
I
thing.
got him.
All those in favor, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. That's it. Thanks, Jesse.
All right, thank you all. Have a good night.
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 All right, new business, Lisa Donor, Plymouth Conservation Commission land donation by the Bobber family. You want to approach the board? Is that okay? Yeah, please.
Sure.
Please do.
You promise not to bite.
I didn't bring any paper, so
We have lots.
you have that. Excellent.
Yeah, we do.
Do you want to see what they have, Lisa?
Yeah, so this came up over in December. We were first approached by Fred Favre, who's managing the Wasset Investment Fund, which has a lot of land out by Old Hebron Road and Texas Hill Road. And basically, their family is looking at divesting themselves of property in Plymouth. And so they are looking for owners to take over land that's currently eased. And that's what this Claybrook property is. It's being held in conservation easement by the Pemmy Baker Land Trust. But it has been owned by the Wasset Investment Fund during that time. And now they want to sell it or give it. They actually want to give it to the town. In the spring, the Favres practiced their forest stewardship plan and did extensive logging on that, and it is now probably logged out, so there's no potential value in logging. But the Conservation Commission, we debated whether or not this was to the town's benefit to accept this property, since it can't be developed, it's already under conservation protection. However, it is in the extreme high-value wildlife corridor from Plymouth Mountain connecting to the Baker River. And it's been our target for a while to protect those lands as much as possible. And while it is under conservation easement, that doesn't necessarily mean it's being managed as effectively as it could be for wildlife. And also for water management. So this is a big thing. That Claybrook drainage receives all the runoff off of Plymouth Mountain, and the best mitigation that you can have for excessive runoff and flood potential is wetland area, undeveloped wetland area that is just left in its natural state. So the logging has disturbed that a little bit, created more runoff potential, but we feel that in the next 5 years or so, if we just let it go, and if we have the, as a town, if we have the ability to control that, then it will regain most of its wetland flood mitigation potential, and also the new shrubs will bring in hopefully moose, beaver, and other wildlife that helps restore those wetlands to their natural functions. So after a lot of debate, we decided that it was in the best interests of the town to accept the gift, and the Conservation Commission voted unanimously to recommend that to the Select Board. So it is, it's about 133 acres. It's bounded by Texas Hill Road and Old Hebron Road. And then there's the Noyce property, LeBlanc property, Mayhew property, and the Favers still own one of the properties there.
All right, so this is I mean, we will own the property. Plymouth will own the property,
Plymouth Town would own the property.
not just the easement, it will be,
Yeah, we won't have the easement. The Pemmy Baker Land Trust will continue to hold the easement.
okay.
But it will make it easier for them to manage that easement because there will be one landowner instead of 4 or 5 landowners if they sold them to the abutters who are already there.
That would make it easier for you to get grants, perhaps.
Well, yeah, there are other advantages of the town having a certain amount of land in, not just in conservation, but protected for wildlife. Our intention is to let it go completely wild, not to develop any trails there, but to let it be a real corridor for wildlife use with minimal disturbance. One of the issues that we worried about was if 50 years from now, for instance, somebody wanted to go in and log it, the log landings are now being sold. Those are the parcels that are being sold on the periphery, and there won't actually be any access. So the forest management plan, if it's being managed for forest management, for the forest stewardship, could be problematic at that point. And we were looking at the potential for maybe revising that conservation easement so that the forest stewardship plan is for wildlife and not for forest management.
How does one do that? You have to own the property first, or what? Or
Yeah, because the landowner is the one that creates the easement and asks for revision of any easement statutes. You know, I feel like we have 50 years before that would be an issue because they really have done a lot of thorough logging there. And it'll be fairly young growth, which is great for foraging animals. You know, the deer and the moose especially, but also porcupine, and not that anybody loves porcupine, but
Somebody might.
my
Was it
dogs
clear
do.
cut?
My dogs.
What's that?
Was it clear cut?
You know, I haven't been able to get back there to see, but according to Norman LeBlanc, they've pretty much cleaned out everything that was loggable. So,
Lisa, the letter talks about offering the Plymouth Conservation Commission a conservation easement. I didn't see in here where it.
So that,
Is this an
there's
older
two,
letter?
yeah, there was 2 pieces of property that he offered at the same time.
Okay.
One is actually a field.
Is that the
on
smaller
the-
one?
If you look on your map, Lisa, can you show them,
Let's see here.
there's
If I
2
can
maps
orient
there.
myself. Yeah.
Texas Hill.
I think this is
It's
the
on the,
field.
on the east side of their
The
house.
field is up, is this northeast? East of Old Hebron Road.
So on sheet one,
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, oh,
so the
if you-
field is that, is
Yeah,
that
if
tract
you
one?
see there, you see Peter H. and Deborah Favre, and then Alfred and Bertha Favre.
Yep.
The field is immediately abutting Peter Favre's property, but they want an agricultural easement on it. And we're not quite at a point of being there to consider that, because those
So-
are complicated.
That field is not actually represented on either of these maps?
Um,
Or is
no, I
it
guess-
tract one?
No.
I believe it's track one.
I remember seeing the field over there.
Track one is 36 acres. Does that
Yeah,
sound
that's
right?
about right.
That's on the east side of their house, I think. Yeah,
Yeah, it's tax map
and
228.
it abuts the track
Seven?
two.
All right, so
Do you-
220.
Oh, wait a minute, lot
This is, that's
7.
228.9.
Where's lot 7?
So on sheet one, it's
They're
this
contiguous,
uppermost circle.
Lot
Yeah.
7
it's
is,
contiguous,
Seven.
two lots.
yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Peter Favre's lot is contiguous to the lot that
12.
is currently owned by Bertha Favre, surviving Alfred Favre.
This
But-
is really terrific.
Yeah, so anyway, that agricultural field may come up as a potential easement, but they have to convince us that it's worth the management effort of it, just to maintain something as a field.
So there's been additional communications other than this January 12th letter talking about gifting the land and not just the easements?
The land is the gift. The easement wasn't the gift yet.
Okay, because the letter we have in front of us says that the Favre family would like to offer Plymouth Conservation Commission a conservation easement on the 20-acre field.
Right.
Oh, as well as ownership.
And then if you
It's
go
the
on-
second part of the sentence. You're
Yes.
right, I skimmed over it.
Yeah.
Okay, I see it now. So it's the first part that we're not talking about.
Correct.
It's the second part that we are.
Yeah, the clay, what he calls the clay
Caught
block
up now,
parcel.
thank you.
And so he inquired again last week as to whether we'd made any decisions on it. And so the Conservation Commission had a meeting last week, and we did vote to approve or to recommend to the Select Board that the town acquire that Clay Brook property because it's in the best interests of town conservation and water management. And it's contiguous to Plymouth Mountain property, Favre East, and close to contiguous to the Walter Newton area. So that continuity of wilderness area is really important for management for diversity and protections.
Is Clay Brook anywhere in that property? Because
Clay
it's,
Brook,
right down
yeah,
the
goes
road.
right through the
Yeah,
middle.
it's- You got this one here. It
There's
shows it.
apple trees in there.
see the apple trees.
Are you worried about the apple trees?
So this one shows it.
So this sort of yellow colored map. And there are some beaver ponds apparently down in there already.
And it looks like there were 3 residential sites that were identified, but those were not developed on.
No, but those are being sold now.
Okay, so what they're offering does not include those 3 residential sites?
Right,
Those would kind of get
Right.
carved out?
yeah.
So they would do like a subdivision with the planning board and then,
I don't know if they're already subdivided or not, but
okay.
they're excluded from what he's calling the Clay Brook parcel. They were already carved out of the easement.
Okay. So is there,
I move that we approve this gift of land to the town of Plymouth. Is that adequate? Is that good enough?
Is there a second?
Second.
Zach seconds. Any discussion? So if we do approve, then you'll further discuss the need for, or our desire not to have an agricultural easement, or, I mean,
Forestry.
not to have agriculture but forestry.
Yeah, so the Claybrook easement, or the Claybrook property wasn't about the agricultural
Okay,
part. It's
All right.
already under a conservation easement with a forest management plan by Forco, and they've logged that out. The agricultural easement that we're not sure about is a separate property,
okay,
and it doesn't have to be part of this decision.
all right. Okey-doke. So we had a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
So you'll get back to the board on the next steps that you, when
Yeah.
you need them again?
Yeah, I will contact Fred Faver and find out the process for the deed transfer.
So I missed I was on the Conservation Commission when this actually happened,
Yeah.
and I missed the field trip. And I guess you missed it as well, or it would have been kind of cool to see it.
Well, the field is a pretty amazing field, and it's at high risk of development
Yeah.
because it has beautiful views,
Yep.
you know, to the south and to the west. No, east.
Well, north too, right? I mean,
Yeah, actually,
A
it's
little bit
almost,
north.
it's
Yeah,
almost
it's-
180
yeah.
degrees.
See Mount Shakarawa?
Not from the field, I
No.
don't think. But the hitch has always been that Alfred Father initially offered that to the Conservation Commission as donated land, but he wanted to stipulate that it continued to be hayed. And we didn't feel that was a viable town action to commit ourselves to in perpetuity. And so we walked away from that. And now his sons are trying to honor that wish, to keep that field open and undeveloped, because right now it would be a beautiful house lot.
Yeah.
And what they want to do, the ideal is that when Bertha Faver is no longer occupying the house, to sell the farm and that agricultural field as one group to hopefully make it a working farm. Now, whether or not they're going to find any takers for that is a different matter. But that's their dream.
That reminds me of Warren had a field, very large, field. And the owner decided to just let it grow. And I remember Charlie Chandler, I think he was a rep at the time, and also, who was a senator. But anyway, she went to bat for it to make it remain a field. I'm kind of like, flip of a coin. Want to let it return to, forest versus, a last major, mowed field in Warren, and they went with a mowed field option.
Well, it does take a lot of, I think farmers would say it would take a lot of effort to re-clear the forest
Yeah.
to make
Oh,
it.
yeah.
But, yeah, whether it's a hayfield or a forest, certainly the forest does a better job of intercepting water and keeping it from rushing off the slope into Claybrook and then into the Baker. But, what's being offered right now is the potential for an agricultural easement.
Right.
So, and we're also looking at the possibility of agricultural easement on the Perkins farm, which is now owned by Regina.
Right.
And I don't know their last name.
Is it Ben? Who's
Just to protect it. They have not approached us, but Gisela Estes has mentioned it to them as something that, we could potentially do to help them retain it as farmland.
Right.
And that's pretty valuable farmland, so.
Yep. Also nice to have it near our airport, just to leave it farmland.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks very much,
Thanks,
Lisa.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Good
it.
night.
We had one more question for you.
Oh, yeah, I was going to ask if you were able to give us a status update on what's been happening with the Oxbow region.
I just had 2 meetings today, 2 Zoom meetings today about that. Apparently, the federal government, which is providing the overall grant, has been funded. That was part of the, I can't remember the name of the
The funder.
well, the funder is the taxpayer, but the particular fund. It was up for renewal, and it was renewed, and it has been fully funded. So the money is there, but apparently they want more of the little blocks in place before they decide to approve. So, like, they want to have the easement already established, the Holderness easement. Holderness School easement needs to be already established before they'll award it, and the Plymouth Athletic Club has to have already deeded the property over to Holderness. And so our discussions today were about how fast could all of that happen. And, you know, we have until about mid-July before the opportunity slips away. So the Plymouth Athletic Club is just waiting for a yellow book value. I don't know how to get a yellow book value, but hopefully somebody,
Did you say mid-July?
yeah. Yeah.
It's 2 weeks.
I know.
Yes, I
It's
know.
just like-
I know, that's why we had
That's how you get
emergency
gray
meetings
hair.
today. I mean, we've been having these conversations with these people for a long time, but we assumed that we would have heard something to trigger our actions before now. And apparently the sequence of when things have to happen has changed with this administration, and so they want more of the ducks in a row before they award the money. But it's still on track. All of our partners are still anxious to make it happen. And the hiccup, the biggest hiccup is that the easement that has to happen with the Holderness School retaining ownership instead of the town of Holderness is that the easement has to be written very, very, very strictly, because it's in perpetuity and they don't want to lose that. And so we just had to make sure that the Holderness School is okay with very strict language controlling what they can do as owners. And they said they would rather do that than give up ownership. So you know, it was good to hear that, and now it's just a matter of how quickly can an easement be pulled together. So the White Mountain Trails Collective is going to hire a lawyer to create the easement, rather than try to do it ad hoc with a group of volunteers and then hope that it's good enough.
So what about Secret Beach then?
The Secret Beach will be, that's part of the Plymouth Athletic Club, and so that's part of the Yellow Book value that we have to determine. But it's really all on Holderness, the town of Holderness, to do this, because they're going to be the owner.
Okay.
And the town of Plymouth will hold a conservation easement on all of that property, including a second easement on the Holderness School property. So there'll be 2 easements on that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How's Holderness School feel about that?
Cool, I guess. Yeah,
As long as they still own it.
as long as they still own it. I don't know why they want to hold on to that poison ivy wetland, but they do.
Well,
So anyway, that's the update. It still looks good. The state of New Hampshire doesn't have any other grant requests that they are putting forward for this, so we are the only contender from the state of New Hampshire for these funds. So as long as we complete, you know, these little tasks, it looks very good.
Great.
That is great.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, I'm sorry.
You're out of
Now
order.
open for public comment.
You may do that through Sir Michael.
Well, actually, it does have to do with the planning board and with the McGinley easements. Because there was some confusion and miscommunication about the role of the Conservation Commission in establishing those easements. We're no longer aware of where that's happening, but we're expected to monitor them when it all happens. So I talked with the New Hampshire Association of Conservation Commission, the director of that, and she said, well, when the town voted in the RSA that created the Conservation Commission, that was basically the people of Plymouth saying that they wanted the Conservation Commission to manage conservation interests in the town. And so we should be working with the planning board and with the select board, but they shouldn't be taking tasks away from the Conservation Commission. And so we're part of our interest in having Sir Michael serve on both is to improve those communications and to make sure that, you know, the Conservation Commission is doing the best job it can towards those conservation aims.
Good point.
But do we know the status of those easements?
I personally don't. Ann or Kathy, or
No,
I
You
would
can-
imagine June
yeah. Yeah.
would be the contact, but I haven't got in touch about it.
Okay.
So
They eventually have to go through the select board.
we're
right?
going to get that. We're going to get those easements.
Well, yeah,
So
but
that the Conservation Commission knows what they have to respond to.
I think they still need to find out through June the status of,
We need the information from June.
So we'll put it on the next agenda? Would that be all right? To try to get at least the information as to where we are, what we're doing, what we're waiting for, and
okay.
we'll have a discussion on July 12th.
Okay, that sounds good.
By then, you should know pretty close to the 15th where you are.
Yeah, yes,
All
absolutely.
right.
And I think, you know, it's great that Sir Michael, you know, wants to be on both, and the fact that the last person that I think was Chris Buckley, you know,
Yeah.
since then, we haven't had a joint, you know, person.
Yeah, it was really valuable to have somebody joint on those. And Sir Michael, I know, is a developer, but it's nice to have a developer who's interested in having at least an ear to what the conservation concerns are. And so we're hoping to work with him as he goes through the process of development to have it be more in line with the town's master plan around conservation.
And you also have Rebecca Hanson on the planning
Yes.
board, which
Yeah, there
kind
you
of
go.
helps in that
That
regard
helps.
too, so.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, committee reports. Do you have any reports?
Budget Committee's meeting on Wednesday, 4 o'clock.
Relax tomorrow.
How do you know that?
I got a notice.
A couple of them I hear.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I tell you, there's a story behind that stupid notice. I got a bounce back saying, you know, your email couldn't be shared. You know? And I'm thinking, okay, well, so that was my W. Bolton at, you know, live.com. So I figured I'll use Bolton 6 at Roadrunner. So I sent it off there, and it wasn't that the message was not being sent. It was like all these, several people that, you know, were on the list that, you know, these couldn't, they were defunct. So that was a list that I got from Lakes Region Planning Commission,
Oh.
and I'll have to edit that. But, so anyway, you were well informed about the meeting tomorrow. And actually, there's a couple of I'm stealing the thunder here.
Go ahead.
Well, there's a couple of interesting items that we're going to be talking about, one of which is the proposed expansion of the Pemmy River Campground up in Thornton. But, you know, there's going to be both local people involved. They're going to be on the call. Actually, the meeting, we're going to have a meeting as well, right here. And you know, it's rather bad spot to put in an extra 61 campsites and septic systems in a floodplain. So, also we were able to take video of, you know, we had a drone that flew over an interesting project at Mike Ahern's property. He's going to reclaim a slope that washed away down the Pemmy by a rather interesting solution, which is to pound local trees that are cut down 6 to 10 feet, I believe, into the substrata and also horizontally into the bank. And the end of those trees will be the root ball, which will, you know, slow the water as it goes by and redeposit the materials that were previously washed downstream. So we were able to get a drone up there to take pictures like before. So, you know, that should be kind of.
Have they started construction yet?
No.
They have
I
their
remember
permit?
seeing, yeah,
they
we
have the
signed the paperwork on that.
State gave it to
sometime
them?
last year. I remember seeing those plans come across the desk downstairs.
It's basically a DES thing. You know, there's like a shoreline permit that, you know, they apply for, and PERLAC gets to review it. And then we make comments to DES, and DES could either accept those comments or not, but, you know, they kind of depend upon, like the different LACs, the local advisory committees, to come up with a rationale for their action. So, but the developer is John Field. At least he's putting together the process, and you know, he's very well known in the state as a, what is it? Fluvial geologist,
Yeah,
whatever.
he's right up there.
Yeah. So, and it's a practice that's been done in several different sites around the state. So we'll see.
Well, hopefully it works.
Yeah. My
For
fingers
a
are
while,
crossed.
maybe.
It'll work until it doesn't.
Better than what's there now.
Any other reports? Well, nothing. Nothing.
Not the subdivision, other than that, I left my
Yeah,
notes.
subdivisions, there was nothing,
Right, this was all subdivision. So it
Nothing-
wasn't an
nothing fun?
8:30 meeting.
continued consideration of the storage units at
Yes.
the,
Oh, yeah?
on Hitchner Road.
Sure.
Hopefully that is all of the i's are dotted and t's are crossed for the coming meeting, but that one's getting close.
Downward light, trucks to turn the lights off
All
as they,
sorts of
Yeah.
things. All the details that people worry about, yeah.
yeah.
No, actually, I think we're down to like drainage is really what, erosion and drainage is really.
Where's that?
At, you know, Hitchner.
Hitchner Drive, you know where the parking lot is
yeah,
on the
down
left?
behind the old
Jake
factory?
Crowley,
Yeah, they're adding storage
Yeah.
units down there.
What was I just thinking about? Oh, Roma Joe's hasn't started yet. I keep on watching and waiting.
Well,
There's a-
Jeremy Hiltz has his equipment
Oh, I
sitting on the
saw that.
site.
Yeah.
There you
It's
go.
parked prominently on site.
Yeah, he's fast.
So you're a Roma Jones fan?
Kinda. I used to, well, when they had Krispy Kreme donuts, that was like in the inception, and great coffee. The coffee's still pretty good, but no more Krispy Kreme.
I'll tell you, based on how long the line is for Dunkin' Donuts, every time you try to go there,
Yeah.
another coffee place that's drive-through is,
Yeah,
that corridor is ready for it.
definitely, yeah. And I don't know why there's so many cars that go to that Dunkin' Donuts unless they're horribly slow or something like that. But yeah, there's always like
Always.
10 cars.
10 cars, all backed up all the way to the gas station.
Yeah. Well, that was fun. What?
All the fun I have.
That's it?
That's it.
All right. Well.
I
it's
make a
gonna be
motion to adjourn.
What about public
well,
comments?
Public comment, we got Frank here.
geez.
Frank.
I'm so there.
Public has no comment. It's a very informative meeting, very interesting.
Thanks, Frank.
And we're going to be combining, you heard,
Yes,
the work session with the general session.
good.
More opportunity for the public.
Starting at 5, Frank.
Right, yes.
Okay.
Yep. So we'll see you at
One
5
agenda
on
now.
the 12th. And so it's gonna be another hot one tomorrow, and probably makes sense to go out to your local ice cream store and
Probably.
cool down a little bit.
Sure, that's not allowed.
What? I don't know what you're talking about. Is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
She made the motion.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was premature.
Second.
Oh.
thanks, yeah. I appreciate that.
All right, Mary Ann moved, you seconded, Ted.
Sure.
Any, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.